This week on the podcast, it's all about the Keighleys, and we share how we would fix the Game Awards in its current state, as well as go through all the nominees and predict the winners and reveals. We also chat about the PlayStation Portal reaching its final form. And on this week's Pixel Picks Showdown, we crown the best Game of the Year winner. All this and more on the Pixel Parents podcast. Hello and welcome to the next episode of the Pixel Parents podcast, the show that discusses all things gaming from the perspective of parents. I am your host, Liam Cook-Kelvin, and today I am, of course, joined by the bearded one, Scott, the tastemaker, Curry. How are we, Scott?
Need to hire Bruce Buffer these days. I'm fine. I'm thawed out. I'm living Mariah Carey's best life.
Right.
Snow in the hills on the way here.
Snow's falling.
It is all around me. Children are not playing. They're playing video games and having all the fun in the world.
As they bloody well should.
As they damn well should. But no, I'm pretty good. I'm ready to, dissect everything about the Game Awards and
Tomato. And
how we feel about that. Is it dissect?
I would say dissect.
Dissect. I don't know. One of the two. But I'm ready to have this chat because it's one that I think you are aching for.
Busting.
You're actually busting for this. But
funnily enough, like to peel back the curtain, this wasn't originally the topic for this week. It was your suggestion.
My suggestion, but I could feel your rage and vitriol for everything.
That's it.
The Game Awards, which we'll keep for the time being. But the original question, because I keep on going off in tangents, I'm all right. Nothing really to report. The world is getting colder, well, the world is getting hotter, but Scotland's getting colder.
Yeah.
How does that work? And if you don't believe that, then you're nuts. And how are you?
Good, man. Good. Also Baltic. Like Scotland is the last destination for everybody as things continue to hot up around us.
I hate to be that old da, but it's like, someone explain it to me. If the world is getting hotter, how come we're colder?
It's a big world. Like
I don't understand it.
Right outside my wheelhouse. I'm sure there's a podcast out there for that. In fact, there probably is, and they're just denying it or something like that.
Yeah,
knowing how
the
podcasts
truthers,
work.
man, truthers.
But yeah, no, I'm good. It's I'm glad it's almost the end of the week. A lot of moving and shaking outside of work that I can't go into yet. But as you know, I'm mad. I'm off my head.
Yes, aye.
Absolutely off my head.
It's also been quite a busy week in terms of the industry.
Yeah.
And there's been quite a lot of news and updates and things that have happened in the last wee while. So it's going to be an interesting time.
It is. We've got lots to talk about, but before we do, I suppose we should get some housekeeping out the road. So for those listening, this is the Pixel Parents podcast, a weekly podcast by parents who game for those who do the same, where each week we discuss all things gaming whilst raising little ones. If you want to be part of the podcast, come say hello and share your thoughts with us at pixelparents.bluesky.social on Blue Sky, or write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. If you like what you hear and you want to support the show, you can leave a 5-star review. And of course, just share this podcast online with your friends.
Or share your podcast.
Share your podcast.
Yeah. You want, man?
There's an energy. It really does help us out. And of course, thank you to everybody that joins us each and every week. It does mean the world. So with that out the way, Scott, what have you been playing this week?
I have been all in on Dragon Age the Veilguard.
Mm-hmm.
Probably too all in on it. So much so that I have been cutting down my regular sleeping hours.
All right, okay.
I now have the sleep pattern of one Adolf Hitler and Margaret Thatcher, respectively. I think the fact is the two of them only slept for 2 or 3, 4 hours a night or something like that.
That explains a lot.
So, doesn't mean I have any grand plans in ruining the entire world, but
worrying me.
I mean, the main distraction here is Dragon Age. If I didn't have that, then who knows what would happen. But I've been playing the living hell out of that game. I have run more than I care to run anymore. And finally, as of 4 a.m. last night, finished it.
Excellent.
Finished the story mode in that game. I'm a few trophies away from the platinum, so the way that it works is it's quite natural in terms of the way that you get the trophies on that. It's all just based on like completion and stuff, so you're not really like, if you make a choice, you're not, there's maybe only one missable trophy in that, but if you make a decision in, you know, some area, the Arlington Forest, and you think, oh shit, like I can't go back to that or can't go back on that, it doesn't impact you. Any decision that you make, you get the trophy for it, so you're fine.
All right, fair enough.
And it is just doing all the side quests, character quest lines and stuff. So I think I will. That might be something that I'll, you know, dip my toe back into over Christmas, because I'm just wanting it out of the way now.
Yeah,
I think I'm officially, you know, I'm done. My journey with Dragon Quest is over. It's like
Dragon Age.
Dragon Age. Oh no. That's over. So I'm ready to move on. And I've moved on. So there you go.
It's been a good innings, though. Good innings.
I mean, to complete 4 Dragon Age games in less than 6 months is vile. It's granted, Origins 2, I didn't do very much out with the main story on that. Inquisition, I had started with the intention of doing everything that I possibly could and then gave up on it. And with this, there's a lot of filler stuff.
Yep.
Like, if I have one more time where I speak to someone in the lighthouse and go and speak to them for 3 milliseconds in another place, I might have honestly thrown the game out the window and then went and retrieved it. But apart from that, it's pretty good. Like, I enjoyed my time with it, so I'm not going to say anything more because I know you're still making your way through it. But I'm excited to give thoughts and feelings when we eventually do that. Yeah,
we'll time that well. I know bigger it doesn't take a lot to be bigger than us, but the bigger podcasts than us would do spoiler casts. I'm wary of them just because not everybody is at the same pace as, you know, such cool guys,
such cool folks
battering through it. So it's like you either skip it or you just don't listen to it. Always annoyed me that. So yeah, we'll definitely get to it.
I'm always kind of like using kind of funny as an example. Like anytime those episodes come up and they're talking about it, even if it is spoiler-free episodes, I just don't listen to them.
Yeah,
because I don't want to taint my own, you know, views of it. So.
True.
And I have my opinions on it, and I'll keep them safe in a wee box until someone asks me about them.
Locked and loaded.
That's me. Go. I'm ready to bust.
And anything else you've been playing this week then?
Apart from that, I started the platinum journey on Grand Theft Auto 3, the definitive edition, and I tell you this, even with the upgrades, even with the remastered visuals, that game is horrible looking. Like, there is no amount of glitter you can put on that to polish it. It is awful. But I've said that I'm going to do it, and I am
committed.
A man of my word. So I will do this for you know, the legions of people that listen to this podcast. Check in with me because I will be having a time of it.
We will hold you to account
with this game. I'll get it done. Trust me. I'll post the platinum trophy.
So what I see
tomorrow. But by the end of amount of hours that I'm playing every other game, it's frightening.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited to get that out the road and then move on to the actual, you know, this is the amuse bouche of the Grand Theft Auto series.
What a word.
Aye, it's Vice City is my personal favourite. So I'm buzzing to get back to that and then obviously play through San Andreas. Then 5. See if Grand Theft Auto 4 was, you know, see if it was there to play.
I've got a copy there I can give you.
Well, then there you go.
What's in the Series X?
I'll play that then. I'll do that. I'll do all of them. I think before you can't get the multiplayer trophies on that.
You can't, no, but it's even just worth to go back and play because I started it. It was a few years ago. I bought it off eBay. It was like a $5 or something.
I think I might actually have it.
Yeah.
I think I might have it digitally on the Xbox.
Because if you don't have it digitally, you can get a cheap disc like I did off eBay, and it does work on the Series X, which is a fantastic feature.
Well, I'm now doing the Grand Theft Auto journey, so follow me on it then.
Well, I might be in some way, shape, or form, you know. But I mean, that's a pretty heavy week though.
It's been ridiculous. Yeah. I think I started the week with just the opinion where, you know, I wanted to get as much out of the Veilguard as possible, and I just wanted to finish it. Like I'm Dragon Aged out. My first week with it went well, but I think that as time goes on, and sort of time will tell with the Veilguard, where a lot of the main story could be finished very quickly. Like you could finish that game super quick. You're just thinking of the actual story beats of it. There's really not much to it. It's just padding it out with the relationship that you create with all the other characters and stuff as well. So that seems to be where all the time went to, was just doing all the different things, finding all the daft treasure chests, finding everything, doing literally everything I possibly could in that game.
Yeah. Oh,
and instead well, doing everything apart from reading all the journal messages and listening to all the conversations, because
this is where we differ.
who needs dialogue in these games?
Yeah, just there to mash buttons. That's
it.
No, it sounds like a pretty good week though. It's constructive week.
Yeah, it's 100% constructive.
Yeah, I like that. I like it. It doesn't happen too often, particularly with these big chunky games at this time of the year.
Yeah.
For myself, it's been I must admit, I've been a busy bee, but my mindset has been that of the buffet mindset, and I keep telling myself, it's like, you've got PlayStation 5 Pro there, and you've got the Veilguard, but I have not really sat down and had a good, 1 to 2 hour session with that game all week.
Yeah.
I have just been dipping in and out of stuff and playing bits of stuff. And surprisingly, the one thing that I'm sticking with, which I'll get to in a minute, but to start at the top, what I've been doing is still just doing the side stuff at Dragon Age, so continue that journey with Esha, which is great. Call of Duty has still been the food that I crave just now.
Even though it's starting to wear a bit thin.
It's because Scott's going in the huff with it because it's mince.
That was you. That was you. We'll have you know.
I know I had a couple of bad nights, but it's about rhythm. You take a night off and
you lose it. You lose it.
But I'm still wanting to go back. I'm nearly at Prestige 2, but really enjoying it. I think it is it's also the social aspect of it, but I think even I know it's I need to probably just put a self-imposed pause on it.
Yeah.
And just go down the Dragon Age route. I've also just been getting right back into it, playing more of Marvel Snap. Of course I have. But there's a big collaboration coming up with Marvel Rivals, which we're weeks away from now.
Yeah, actually.
So that's why I wanted to touch on it. So quite excited because they're doing some kind of card crossovers with it. And Marvel Rivals, I think that's going to end up dominating me for a few weeks anyway, whilst it comes out. I think it's around about the same time as Indiana Jones as well.
It's the day before Soul Reaver comes out.
Right, okay. But then again, Marvel Rivals is a different type of multiplayer game, but it's not really something I think I'll be playing as intensely as COD, but I still will just pick up and play.
You remember the days of Overwatch? We honestly sold our soul to Blizzard. It was
far
disgusting, man. It says enough that I managed to play that entire game as Winston at one point.
Yeah.
I found fun in Winston. Who else?
But that's the thing about these hero shooters, is you do find your own fun.
Well, that's it.
When you find that support class that works and you can just adapt to people without talking to them.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that. Even though I think I'm excited for Marvel Snap because it feels like the game is now, it's 2 years old. It needs a refresh. It's starting to stagnate. I'm seeing a lot of content creators fall off it and be a lot more critical. They're losing players to Pokemon TCGP as well. But it's more to do with the fact of they're identifying if you're a new or a lapsed player, you're kind of buggered trying to get back into this game, and it's very much deck of the week meta, so that's what it is.
Do you ever wish that you'd got into the content creation part of it? Do you feel like that's an opportunity missed? Because you have those people that are fonts of knowledge with these kind of things, and you are I could ask you any question about it and you know the answer to it.
Yeah.
So it's do you feel like when there's people falling off it, do you think there's a space for you to be like, do you know what, I'll slide in here and make my own wee niche on this?
There could be if I had the time. I'm quite happy. This is fulfilling my content capacity just now, but it's also the content creators play it an awful lot. So when what they do is they'll put up the YouTube highlights and that, but their Twitch streams are hours long.
Yeah, that's true.
And it's what you're seeing on YouTube, and that is like a highlights reel of all the games they win.
Yeah.
But I don't think anybody wants to. Maybe they would want to watch me lose my shit at losing.
And then that's part of the joy of it. That's part of the joy.
I mean? And it's been really sweaty.
And the thing is, you could win Content Creator of the Year with it.
True, which is foreshadowing. Now it's got to like it. Foreshadowing. But outside of that, I've also been playing a lot of GTA San Andreas, the definitive edition, just been continuing that.
It's
And
mad, innit?
the reason is I bought it in Series X when it came out, and it's the quick resume, so I literally just turn it off, right back on, there I am, and I'm just making my way through the story, and I'm absolutely loving it. And it's always at this time of year, and when it gets to the colder Christmassy side of the year, I like to play it. But it's definitely worth picking up the collection. But to totally agree with you, it is amazing how crap and rudimentary the game looks, particularly San Andreas. And it's because obviously they expanded the size of it.
Yeah.
So Vice City looks better than it even did back in the PS2, whereas they're a lot more polygonal and just more rudimental character models, and it's a bit more crude.
I love how you did
basic.
the hands.
The hands with no gaps.
That's so good. I love it.
And it's it was a terrible looking game. Like
It was.
It really was. Like, and I was thinking about it and I'm playing it, and it's amazing how Rockstar has kind of developed that side of them, the presentation side that we come to expect. And then I quickly then dived over to GTA 5 this week because the PlayStation Portal received an update. So for anyone listening, they've basically included the PlayStation game catalog streaming beta. Now, if you've got the PlayStation Plus premium subscription, it's a mouthful, you can now stream games via that.
It's select games though.
Select games.
It's like 150 titles or something, like Ghost of Tsushima, Ratchet and Clank.
GTA 5 has just been
GTA
added.
5 is one of them. I'm sure there's others that there's definitely others that I've missed out, but...
Well, here's the cool part, right?
Oh, the cool bit.
So as we know, you need to just connect to your PlayStation 5 via the internet, and it's just effectively showing what's on there. This game streaming, you don't need to connect to the PlayStation.
That's cool.
And it is cool, and it's like, I tested out GTA 5 on it, PS5 version, it is crisp, buttery smooth. Of course, it's connection dependent, but I enjoyed a good session playing that. And then I was just, obviously, you're comparing two games that are like, almost 10 years apart, and even at that with more updates. But you see the difference in how dense Rockstar makes the worlds. And then you look at Red Dead Redemption, it's like, I was just like, yeah, they've come a long way. And it's making me, I'm in a bit of a GTA mood now. And I think it has just come back to those retrospective videos we're watching.
Yeah, 100%.
And I'm getting excited for GTA 6. I'm thinking that we've got the Pro there. I want to feel the benefit of that, playing that game. And yeah, I'm excited. But PlayStation Portal, it's its final form now. I feel. Do
you think so? Do you think this is the...
It's getting there, right? It's getting there. But I mean, it's got some blonde hair going on, right? It's going super. It's going super. So...
I think you're thinking about, is you're not even my final form? Is that Cell or is that Freezer? Freezer.
It's one of those things where it feels like, right, now we're missing the part that's missing, and it's only going to grow. And if they nail this, PlayStation Plus a Portal becomes a really essential purchase for people like us.
Yeah.
I think we've talked about it before. If we're both in couples where we are the gamer and we're not married to another gamer, and I don't know if that's the majority of cases or not. I'd probably say it might be, just because, well, maybe not these days, but we know that with it's like, you could be sitting there, big telly, you want to be in the same room together, putting a game on big telly isn't going to fly. The Portal, it's like the amount of times I've pulled that out when she's been watching like Married at First Sight.
Yeah.
Oh, what a godsend. But now, like with the streaming capabilities, I could take this away for work. I could do whatever with it, and I think the remote play function was a wee bit muddly at times. I don't know what it is. But
it kind of almost feels like this should have always been like, this is what it should have been initially. Do you know what I mean? Like, you can play your games on this device. Like, I know Xbox are doing this now. Like, this is the... Again, we're all Xboxes.
Yeah.
We're all Xboxes. I am an Xbox. Same. But, it does feel like this is the way it should have always been. And at the end of the day, I don't think it could go further. Like, there's no storage or anything like that on the... I
mean, that's the only next step, to make it like a Vita successor at that point.
But it doesn't need to do that if you can do it. But the only other thing it would be is that you can download games and play them locally, not on Wi-Fi and stuff like that. But like, sit in a Starbucks and you can play, name a game out loud, Leisure Suite Larry or something like that. Do you know what I mean? Like you can play that. But it's just it'll be interesting to see how it develops, because I know it's only PlayStation 5 titles at the moment.
Yeah.
So PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 3, even the 2s and the 1s, you know, like that. Like it'd be nice to take them with you, but
there's a big
it's
opportunity.
Asking a lot. It's a huge opportunity, because it creates a catalogue of games that's not just tied on to a console experience.
Yeah.
That you have to physically be sat behind a controller watching a telly. You can fire it on if you're on the plane or something like that. Like, you know, I know playing Wi-Fi isn't great, but like if you were on the train or something going somewhere, you could.
I could picture this perfect scenario. I think that this is the market that Sony needs to go for, which is the people listening to this podcast. You know, we're talking about not even just gamer parents, but just adult gamers in a household. Now, if you're a parent, you might have, say you've got wee Jimmy that has a PlayStation 5 who wants to play your PlayStation 5, right? And you couldn't even do that with the Portal. Now, you could technically have wee Jimmy's got the PlayStation 5 up the stairs, your partner's just watching the telly, you know, they're just having a great time, and you can connect to game streaming via the Portal. Yeah.
Does it, aye?
Yeah.
So I could be playing Tekken 8 on the PlayStation, and you can play Grand Theft Auto 5 on the Portal. Does that work, aye? That's interesting.
You don't need to connect to your PlayStation 5 to get the
streaming. That's cool. No, I just didn't know if it would work with, like, I don't know, something didn't work, but that's interesting. Aye, cool stuff. The advert, let's make the advert, right?
Listen.
I am advertisement gold. So you put me in the position that I'm in, sitting in the house with my wife, and she's watching, I don't know, some location, right? And I'm like, darling, I need to go for a shite. Grab the Portal.
What an opening.
Cloud streaming, and I'm in there. And 3 hours pass by.
Never feel your legs again.
She's watched 3 episodes of it, and I'm still sitting there, and my legs just waste away.
Yeah.
And that's where they find me, and I'm still holding the Portal in my hand.
If it was the 90s, they probably would make that advert.
And it says, what's the play anywhere? What's some limits?
Witness
play has no limits or something like that.
Aye.
Some other nonsense. That's my elevator pitch advert.
Okay.
Herman, you know where I am. Come at me on Blue Sky.
Do you know it would sell?
I'm here for it.
It would sell. It would absolutely sell. My God. Well, speaking of Sony, there was one other bit of news this week, because outside that, I've not really been playing much else. That kind of wraps everything up. But there's one bit of news that I thought was worth talking about. There's been a lot that's happened this week, but this one feels pertinent just because of the games we enjoy.
Pertinent.
But Sony may be acquiring Kadokawa as well. So there's been a letter of interest confirmed, no decision made. But of course, Kadokawa are a media conglomerate that own From Software, as well as the developers such as Spike Chunsoft, who made Danganronpa, and Acquire Studio, who worked on Octopath Traveler. But they've also got loads of anime, manga, TV, and film production, and I think it might actually stretch towards some of Nintendo's interests as well. Don't quote me on that. But I think
it's actually stretching towards Xbox interest as well. But don't quote me on that either.
Well, it's a big deal, and obviously the big diamond in there is From Software. Now, Sony already holds some percentage of shares in there anyway. But I'm thinking, what's your thoughts on this?
Nothing. I want to be like, oh my God, Sony are finally going to do it and unleash Bloodborne 2 because no one else will. But I don't really think it's about that. I think that's the headline. Like that's the, you know, if you're reading the Sun newspaper in Scotland, it's a story about Rangers or Celtic every single day, because you know that's getting hits. Like,
very true.
Any website that is reputable and wants to get people to click on stuff is going to be like, Sony buying Bloodborne, and it's like, what? But it's not. It's just this Kadokawa mob that have anime and all that nonsense. Like, Sony have been doing this with Crunchyroll and stuff like that for a very long time. So I think that for me, it's nothing to do with From Software. I think that's a benefit of having this, but ultimately I don't think it had anything to do with the decision that they're making. I think it is just the anime and all that other nonsense that's on there as well. I missed the boat with anime. I really have. Like, there's so much content out there. But it's just the time to sit down and watch and like looking at my wife in the eyes and being like, listen, I'm going to watch every single episode of One Piece. Now, I would age about 40 years before I finish that show because I think it's still going on now and there's a million different episodes. But I'll stick to my meat and potatoes Dragon Ball, and that's me. You know, my vanilla anime.
There's nothing vanilla about it. I mean, it's always the starter anime, I suppose. But I think looking back in like the 90s and that, and Toonami and all that, it's like huge. So I mean, special place in the heart.
Yeah, I used to sit next to a girl in school that used to sit and draw characters like anime characters. And used to always be like, "What are you doing? You're weirdo."
Aye.
But then now I've grown up and I'm being like, "Yeah, that was cool.
That was cool.
That was cool."
I know. Well, that kind of wraps up everything this week, but I think it's time we should move on to the main topic, and it's a meaty one. It's actually a two-parter.
A two-parter.
Look at us
treating everyone well.
Dishing out hashtag content. You know, that's what we do. But of course, this week's topic is dubbed "Fixing the Game Awards." Now,
or does it need fixed?
Doesn't need fixed.
Is it fixed?
Is it fixed? Oh God, is it? Well, now the grift cast.
Told you I'm in the grift.
Part one of this, Scott, I think we're just going to go through our predictions for the Game Awards in terms of who do we think is going to win it, and then maybe talk a little bit about what do we expect to see there.
Now, let me say this out loud before you do this. Mm-hmm. I am hoping that you're going to read out all the nominees for me because I haven't prepared a jot. I've come into this whole process blind because I want to give true thoughts and feelings on the matter.
Well, we're going to start from the bottom. Over here.
Started from the bottom and then here.
There is 29 awards in total, right?
Deary me.
We're not going to sit here at length and go through them all, right? We're going to just give a little flyby of some of the big ones that we really can talk about. So, first three ones here. Best esports team, best esports athlete, and best esports game. I've just said, I've no idea, but it might be us because we're now FaZe Clan because we're that good at COD. So I'm just going to fly by those three. Good luck to all of them, but I ain't speaking about something I have no idea about. So
very true.
Best of luck to you guys. So we'll move on and we'll start. Oh God. Move on and we'll start to Content Creator of the Year, right? You might know more about this than I because this is where I expose my age and I'm like, who's that?
I am pure, made up of pure content.
Pure content. Well, you enjoy more of the Twitch.
Yeah.
Yon Twitch that the kids enjoy than I do. So we've got Queso, Elo Juan, Teco Gamers, Typical Gamer, and the Sad Epicora.
Now, tell me, Queso, Caseoh.
Yeah.
He's going to win it.
Okay.
His content's absolutely hilarious. He does these things. It's like you have to go through like like Papers, Please.
Yeah.
I think it's like one where you have to go through like a check at like wartime, and there's people trying to smuggle stuff in. Some of the stuff that it does on it is absolutely hilarious. So, apart from him, I genuinely never heard of any of the others.
Okay.
And I know there's outcry for like people like Kai Cenat and stuff like that. Like, Kai Cenat's been streaming forever now and has probably the most viewers on Twitch at the moment. So it seems a little bit like, okay, like,
I mean, there's a trend.
I know.
And I'm like, how long before we see the downfall of Kai Cenat?
I don't think we do.
No, it's just like they always do bad things.
I don't see it. Like, come back to me on this episode, but I don't see it.
We'll see. But anyway,
yeah,
he gets your nod. Okay, so next game award is most anticipated game. It's a fun one. So we've got Death Stranding 2 on the beach. Terrible name. Ghost of Yoti, Grand Theft Auto 6, Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, for me, I think it's obvious GTA 6. But
Grand Theft Auto 6 wins that in a landslide. If anyone's voted for Monster Hunter Wilds, you need to have a long, good look at yourself. A bath.
Concur. We're going to keep this pacey because the real meat of this discussion follows, right? And we'll probably, as we get towards the top of them,
let's give me a trouble.
So, next one, Best Adaptation. It's Arcane, Fallout, Knuckles, Like a Dragon Yakuza, and Tomb Raider, The Legend of Lara Croft. I think we're probably going to be in agreement in this one as well. I'm thinking Fallout.
Yep.
Okay, you're hearing it here first, so go to the bookies with all these shouts, you'll get some money. Next
We
one.
don't condone gambling, by the way.
Could you just imagine going to Ladbrokes? It's like, here, mate, I want to put this bet on the Game Award.
Please gamble responsibly.
Yeah, exactly.
When the fun stops, stop. There you go.
Good
Covered our backs.
This was a good one, Scott. Next, best multiplayer for outstanding online multiplayer gameplay and design, including co-op and massively multiplayer experiences, irrespective of game genre or platform. Nominees: Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Super Mario Party Jamboree, Tekken 8, or Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. I have went on this one with Helldivers 2.
I'd probably agree with you.
Even though, personally, I would
probably say COD, but I would say COD, but I just think that
the
Helldivers made a splash when it did so. Aye.
Helldivers 2 it is. This next one's a doozy. Best sports/racing game for the best traditional and non-traditional sports and racing game. We've got F1 24. There's a lot of numbers here. EA Sports FC 25, NBA 2K 25, Topspin 2K 25, WWE 2K 24.
EAFC.
I'm the same.
Because nobody cares about the rest.
Yeah, this is.
And I don't want to start pretending that other sports games should be in there because
this feels like
nobody cares.
A dead category.
Yeah.
And they could put all of these in another category.
And it's also quite funny that they've got WWE in there. It's just like, we need to throw something in there. Like, that's the only other sports game they could think of.
I know. And I'm actually thinking, I'm like, there surely must have been other sports games out there.
There's been a big sort of outcry about NCAA and all that as well. Like
college football
stuff, but only Americans care about that. So
that's true. I mean, the sport's absolute mince. So.
The Game Awards are not only based in America, so suck on that, USA.
They've had a lot of spotlight lately, so
kiss those
gums. We'll excuse them. Next one is best sim/strategy. So it's the best game focused on real-time or turn-based simulation or strategy gameplay, irrespective of platform. We've got Age of Mythology Retold, Frostpunk 2, Kunitsugami Path of the Goddess, Mana Lords, and Unicorn Overlord. You've got 2 shouts in here.
My heart is telling me Unicorn Overlord. My head, probably Unicorn Overlord as well.
I've put that down here as well, just purely because of the high praise that you gave it.
It's phenomenal. It is phenomenal.
Where there's smoke, there's fire. The next category is one that's actually quite salient with our podcast. Best family game. For the best game appropriate for family play, irrespective of genre or platform. Astrobot, Princess Peach Showtime, Super Mario Party Jamboree, The Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, The Plucky Squire. Now,
it's just feed everything to Astrobot.
It's just Astrobot, isn't it? So, I think that's probably one of the many awards that we'll get on the night.
Yeah.
But I digress. Next one, Scott, this is a good one for you. Best fighting. So for the best game design primarily around head-to-head combat, we've got Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, or Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, Granblue Fantasy vs. Rising, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics, Multiverses, really, and Tekken 8.
No, Tekken probably.
I'm sorry, Tekken 8.
Tekken 8. I think you could make a case for Dragon Ball, but it's just the sheer content of it. But Tekken 8 is perfected.
Does
the formula
Marvel v Capcom Collection get a shout? No.
If you're Maximilian dude, then yes. But I think even they would admit it's Tekken 8's year. So yeah, 100%. If you it's frightening though, because it's not actually frightening. No. Forget what I'm going to say.
It's fighting. It's not frightening. It's fighting.
It's fighting love.
Next category, we've got Best RPG for the best game designed with rich player character customization and progression, including massively multiplayer experiences. We have got Dragon's Dogma 2, Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth, and Metaphor ReFantazio.
Tazio. Elden Ring.
It has to be done. In fact, actually, yeah, I've put.
I think
Elden Ring Shadow of the Eritrea.
That's a totally different game.
Yeah.
I think purely from the description of the actual award itself.
Yeah,
it's everything that it says. So
I think you're right, and if honest, this is the category I think they might just chuck Dragon's Dogma 2 a little token award because the praise that it got though. I can't ignore it.
If Dragon's Dogma, I get too many fucking Dragons games. If Dragon's Dogma wins any award at this Game Awards, I will live on this podcast next week take a shot of any alcoholic drink in this house.
Okay.
Like, I will purposely get a taxi here and back because that game is not winning anything.
Okay.
It is not. I'm so sorry.
Is this the first podcast bet we've got on this?
I am honestly, I am so sorry to all Dragons Dogma fans, but that game is fucking dross.
Oh, good
like,
God.
It is the same game as one. I'm so sorry. It is shite. You didn't even play it for more than 3 hours.
No, it didn't click with me
I
at all.
played that game for 20 odd hours, completed it, and it is dog meat. Pure fucking dog meat.
I still have this odd urge to go back to it though.
Don't even bother.
Especially with the Pro, just to see.
Don't even bother. Just play Dragon Age. Play Dragon Age.
Yeah,
considerably better.
I need to stop myself. But anyway, to calm you down, go to the next category, right? Which is best action/adventure. For the best action/adventure game, funnily enough, combining combat with traversal and puzzle solving. So we've got Astrobot, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Silent Hill 2, Star Wars Outlaws, and The Legend of Zelda: Echoes of Wisdom. Now, for this one, I actually have put down Silent Hill 2.
Again, I think it's the definition of it.
Mm-hmm.
I think that traversal and stuff like that and the puzzle stuff really, really feeds into what Silent Hill 2 done this year. But I would not be surprised if it was Astrobot again.
I know.
Like, my heart wants it to be Silent Hill 2 because it deserves it, but my head tells me it's Astrobot.
I mean, this is as healthy nominees as you can see. Like, there's nothing out here that I'm saying, this is all. I'm actually, even though I enjoyed Star Wars Outlaws, I'm actually a little surprised it's on there. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown and The Legend of Zelda. And I do think in these award shows where there's quite repetitive categories, they kind of toss a bone to some of the games that they want to recognise. It's like, look, you still made an awesome game.
Yeah.
But there's obviously, I think there's ones that have more stature than others. Teams.
Yeah.
I think, to be honest with you. But yeah, it's quite a hard one to call because any of them could win it. Well, maybe not Star Wars Outlaws, but any of them could win it. I'm just being honest here. But we'll move on next because we promised this to be quick. Best action game, not best action/adventure game, so best action game. For the best game and the action genre focused primarily on combat. So we've got Black Myth: Wukong, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Helldivers 2, Stellar Blade, and Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine 2. For me, I think this is going to go to Black Myth: Wukong.
Focused on combat?
Yeah.
Why is Final Fantasy VII not in it then?
Because it'll be focusing on the progression in massive worlds.
But
I can't remember the
combat.
definition.
The combat. Do you know what I mean?
I know.
Like,
I know.
having Black Ops in there is like
mental,
ridiculous. Stellar Blade, go for it.
Okay, I like it. The saucy picks.
I've only played it for an hour, but even what I have picked, even though I've played it for an hour, but you know, there we are.
This is the one where I am literally, I'm going out the bookies with the wee pen and I'm just trying to pick a horse because I have no idea. And I'm going purely based on critical reception.
Vibes.
Best VR/AR game. For the best game experience playable in a virtual or augmented reality, irrespective of platform. So we've got Arizona Sunshine Remake, Asgard's Wrath 2, Batman Arkham Shadow, Metal Hellsinger VR, and Metro Awakening. And for me, I think it will go to Asgard's Wrath 2 just because I remember at the time that was getting glowing praise.
Glowing reviews. I didn't know Metro was out. I didn't know what is it, the Hellsinger one?
VR.
Didn't have a VR. I didn't realise I actually had VR. Never heard of the first one.
Really? Oh.
Yeah, Batman heard of, too recent, so Asgard Wrath.
Okay, let's go. Be good to get Alex's take on that one to see where he thinks it will go. The next one is Best Mobile Game, which is for the best game playable on a mobile device, funnily enough. Not the one that you put over a crib. So the first one is AFK Journey, Balatro, Pokemon Trading Card Game Pocket, Wuthering Waves, and Zenless Zone Zero. I think they have to give this one to Balatro. You know, has to be it. Do you agree?
100%. Balatro took over my life.
Mm-hmm. I've deliberately not bought it on my mobile because of that. It would end me.
Join us in the pool.
I'll keep it on the PlayStation.
Dip a toe.
By the way, speaking of the portal, Balatro and that thing, Chef's kiss.
Do you know what it's even better though? On your phone.
I'd get no work done, man. No work at all. That's what I'm afraid of. It's bad enough with Marvel Snap. Anyway, we then move on to the next category. We're nearly there. Making good headway here. Best debut indie game. The best debut game created by a new independent studio. We've got Animal Well, Balatro, Manor Lords, Pacific Drive, and The Plucky Squire. Again, I think this is going to go to Balatro, but I can see the hipster vote swinging this to Animal Well.
I might do another drink on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Balatro 100% deserves it for the time it's spent at the top. Animal Well is good, but it doesn't deserve it. Like it's good for what it was trying to do. Like
Not
and no, it is. It does a lot of things well, but it sort of loves itself a wee bit. But Balatro is just kind of
genius.
It's incredible
Absolutely
how they've
genius.
managed to make a game on this. So
spoiler alert. Like really, if I'm thinking what is the actual best new game this year, it is Balatro.
But
like,
it's
for
what it's
ingenious,
doing and for how it's managed to gamify poker even more than it needs to be gamified.
It's sensational.
Ridiculous, but it's definitely the winner in that category. Animal Well is not winning that.
Yeah,
and I'll drink another whatever it is.
2 shots. Here we go. Next one. I genuinely think I'm like, have we did this, but we haven't, have we?
Say it out loud.
It was best independent game. I'm
Is that not just the last one there?
No, it was best debut indie game. So
All
it
right.
had best mobile game, best debut. So this one is best independent game. Jesus, we're starting to.
So it's not it's not a debut.
No.
Right. Okay.
It's for outstanding creative and technical achievement in the game made outside of the traditional publisher system. Animal Well, Balatro, Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. Sounds like a cool band name. Never and UFO 50. I think again, it has to be Balatro, but I can see the hipster vote going to UFO 50 in this one. Has to play a factor.
Aye, pretty much, aye. That or never.
Never.
Because people love being sad.
Sadly, they do. Next one is Best Community Support, which is recognising a game for outstanding community support, transparency and responsiveness, inclusive of social media activity and game updates and patches. I don't think it's worth going through it. It's going to be Helldivers 2.
Helldivers 2. All of his game is community support, so...
Yeah. Best ongoing. We've got Destiny 2, Diablo 4, Final Fantasy 14. Had to check my Roman numerals there. Fortnite and Helldivers 2. I mean, Helldivers 2, surely.
Ongoing game.
Yeah. Game for outstanding development of ongoing content that evolves the player experience over time.
Right. Helldivers 2 will win it.
Uh-huh.
But Fortnite should.
You're right.
For the time that Fortnite has done that, we just accepted that that's just normal for them. Like,
yeah, there's no other kind of marker of success when it just becomes expected.
Yeah, and that's the sad thing with Fortnite. It's just like it hits home runs every single game, but nobody really cares.
Yeah.
Like, when's the last time we looked at Fortnite and been like, oh my god, that's shite? Like, they've put Lego and Guitar Hero and Rocket League all in one game.
They brought the Marvel event back. It got me back in.
It's ridiculous.
Playing it to
like,
fight
so
Dr. Doom.
Fortnite should, but Helldivers will.
Okay. Well, next one we've got is Games for Impact, which is for a thought-provoking game with a pro-social meaning or message. So we've got Closer the Distance, Indica, Never, Life is Strange Double Exposure, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, or Tales of Kenzera Zao. I think that Tales of Kenzera will take this one.
I think it will as well.
Yeah, I do. And it's quite a cool bunch of games in there. Indica's one that I really wanted to play. Never got to it though.
I will tell you this. I have played one of them.
What one?
Senua's Saga.
Really?
I've not played the rest of them.
I've played Senua's Saga, I've played Tales of Kenzera, which I enjoy, but after Prince of Persia.
See, that's the problem with it, is that, but it's not about the gameplay, it's about the impact.
True. This next one, speaking of impact, is another good category which I do celebrate, which is innovation and accessibility, which is recognising software and or hardware that is pushing the medium forward by adding features, technology and content to help games be played and enjoyed by an even wider audience, which is something that I just love to see, to be honest with you.
Love to see it, yeah.
So you got Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Diablo 4, Dragon Age The Veilguard, Prince of Persia The Lost Crown, and Star Wars Outlaws. Now, for me, I have selected Star Wars Outlaws for this one because I just remember the accessibility option has been quite impressive.
Yeah.
None of them here, I think, have impressed me to the degree of what I had saw and the likes of, say, like The Last of Us Part 2.
And
some
Naughty
shiny-
Dog are really good at it though.
They are,
Like,
yeah. And
you've got like the colorblind stuff and all that on there as well. So to be honest with you, I don't know enough about it. Like I would pull a name out of a hat, and that's it for me. Like, do you know what I mean? I'll go with you on that.
Okay, awesome. Well, I'll move us on because we're getting to the tasty stuff now, right? So we've got another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Jesus Christ.
Best performance. So this is always a big one. So awarded to an individual for voiceover acting, motion and/or performance capture. You've got Brianna White for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Who does she play?
Bastard does. It's like, no idea.
I think it's Aerith.
It must be. Let's have a look.
I'm sure it is Aerith, actually.
Let me see. I think it is Aerith. Yeah, it is. Aerith Gainsborough. So we have her. We've also got Hannah Telly for Life is Strange Double Exposure. We've got Humbly Gonzalez for Star Wars Outlaws. She was obviously playing
the
main character. Luke Roberts, Silent Hill 2. And Melina Jurgens for Senua's Saga Hellblade 2. Now, despite what you think of that game, Scott, it has to go to Melina for me. I'm sorry. But what she did, I don't think she gets enough respect, honestly. We're still talking about Troy Baker. We're still talking about all these mocap. She's the Andy Serkis of mocap and performance capture in this industry.
That's absolutely fine, but
come at me.
It doesn't help that she makes that game. Like, do you know what I mean? I want to go with you, but I'm going all in on Silent Hill 2.
Oh yeah,
his performance as James in that game is incredible. Like, there is no way. Again, there is no way that game should have been as good as it was.
I mean, it's very different context, but it feels like that is the Alan Wake 2 of this year.
It is.
Surprise package.
Honestly, it is incredible. I'm honestly like goosebumps on my soul just thinking about it because it was incredible. Also, big shout out to Aerith because she made me cry this year. See that scene at the end when you're playing as child Aerith and you get to be flashback and stuff like that. Oh man, being a parent, man, it hurts.
Absolutely fantastic, and as well for Humbly Gonzalez and Star Wars Outlaws, she was fantastic.
I thought, never played.
Just a shame that the game didn't get well received at that point.
Aye.
We've got now next is Best Audio Design, which is recognising the best in-game audio and sound design. Funnily enough. So you've got Astrobot, Call of Duty Black Ops 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Senua's Saga Hellblade 2, or Silent Hill 2. What is your pick on this, Scott?
Fucking hell, that's
very
hard.
Intrigued to get your
That
take.
is hard.
It's best in-game audio.
In-game audio.
Design, so it's not...
What was the first one? Astrobot?
Astrobot, Blob 6, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Hellblade 2, Silent Hill 2. Lot. That's
tasty.
Meaty contenders there.
Oh, man.
You can give it to any of them.
You could give it to any of them, I want to give it to Silent Hill 2. I'm going to give it to them again because some of the sound design in that game is outstanding, especially in the jail scene as well. When you go into the prison and stuff like that, it is horrible.
Yeah.
You're in the dark and you're having to listen for all the enemies and find out where they are, and they're like, oh! It's like, so good.
For me, I'm just going to go down the Astrobot route. I know I could have given it to Hellblade 2, but I didn't think it was as good as the first one.
It kind of feels like Astrobot's like Brock Lesnar in that Royal Rumble that he was in. It's like everyone runs in and they just get tossed out. Like,
well, this is a good one coming next. Best score of music, love this one. For outstanding music, inclusive of score, original song, and or licensed soundtrack. Astrobot, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Metaphor Refantasio, Silent Hill 2, and Stellar Blade.
Just doing it to annoy me.
I am just going straight off the bat here. And I feel like it's a final step on my journey this year. It has to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
I agree.
It has to be the music and the effort they went to recreate that music. Outstanding.
It's disgusting.
Outstanding.
It's disgusting. I'd love to hear the soundtrack for Stellar Blade, and eventually I will. Silent Hill 2's soundtrack is iconic anyway, so it's just made it even better. Final Fantasy VII it's beautiful. Like,
it really is.
It doesn't matter which version you play, both are still...
It's almost unfair.
Yeah, it is.
I mean...
And do you know what? See, with Astrobot, it's good, but I don't think it does enough, to be honest with you. Like, I remember the opening theme and like the start of it. But see, apart from that,
I know, but you're forgetting, like, see the way they remix the Uncharted theme.
No, I get that, but those are the special levels. But it's not like you're playing like a Mario game. Like,
I know
you're playing Mario 64. Like, I could ask you, like, what's the first level's theme in Mario 64? So I can tell you that all.
I know. I think Astrobot fulfills its brief.
It does, but I don't think it does anything more.
I've got a funny feeling, though, as much as I think Final Fantasy VII Rebirth should take it, I get a funny feeling Metaphor ReFantazio is going to take that one.
I don't think it's as good as everyone.
It's all I'm hearing.
Remembers. I can see people talk about the battle theme. Can't remember it. Cannot remember it.
That's why we come here, folks, for the honest takes.
Honestly, it's
honest takes.
Anyway. Wait till we get to the Game of Year conversation for that, because We'll
move on quickly. Quick fire round here. So we've got Best Art Direction, right? Astrobot, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Air Tree, Metaphor ReFantazio, or Never. I think it's going to go to Metaphor.
I think it will too.
Okay, we're agreed on that. Next, we have Best Narrative. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, or Silent Hill 2. I think that they might just squeeze this to Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, even though I've not played it. Oh God, that's great. So that sounds like my dog has just randomly turned on the television next door, which is great.
Turn it off. Here's a minute, because I'm connected to it. So
there we go. I have no idea what is going on in the background there. This is what happens. Just
there you go.
Chaos,
the chaos
all the time.
So what one was this? Sorry, I wasn't paying attention.
This is Best Narrative. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth, Metaphor ReFantazio, Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2, or Silent Hill 2. I think they're going to give it to Like a Dragon, just because my thinking is they're just going to toss it a bone.
They've not given it to. They've not given anything else for it. I don't know. I think Metaphor will get it.
Yeah, I must admit, not a strong category for me. None of these games I'm looking at thinking these are all I hear about these games is wild and
is the narrative on it. Like, I do think there's a place for all of them, to be honest with you. I would be remiss in saying Like a Dragon because I've not played it. But
Silent Hill 2, do you think that's a shout?
It's very good. It is very good.
I mean, out of all of them, it's
the one
most straightforward.
It's the one that's had the most impact on me this year. Like, and I say that having played Final Fantasy VII at the beginning of the year.
Okay.
But the game that I still come back to and think about for this year is Silent Hill 2.
Okay. We'll bookmark that. Next one is Best Game Direction. Awarded for outstanding creative vision and innovation in game direction and design. So we've got Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Elden Ring Shadow of the Air Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. I'm going out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Balatro, because it's an outstanding creative vision, innovation in game direction and design. The way that they have taken the simple game of poker and created a new game effectively around it, it's the simplicity of it. Balatro, honestly, I think it's our generation's Tetris. Honestly, it is
true,
that simple and ingenious. I cannot gush about that more. But anyway, that's a tough category.
It's a really tough call. I don't think you can give it to Black Myth because the director's like troublesome.
Yeah.
I don't think the rest of them do enough that isn't Balatro. So I'm with you on that. I think that you can look at all those games. You're looking at direction. They're all plays on games that are already there. Final Fantasy VII, the remake, Metaphor, Persona. What are the other ones?
Elden Ring Shadow of the Air Tree and Astrobot.
Elden Ring. Astrobot's got the usual Astrobot stuff. So I
think whoever
Balatro
wins this one gets the next one, which is of course Game of the Year. Not that I think that I'm not picking the same for it. I'm being awkward. So Game of the Year nominations: Astrobot, Balatro, Black Myth Wukong, Shadow of the Air Tree, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and Metaphor ReFantazio. What gets it for you personally, outside of what do you think is going to get it? Not a prediction, but what?
Right
Out of that category.
Out of that category, Final Fantasy VII.
Okay,
but I think Metaphor will get it.
I think Astrobot on both.
No, in fact, I lie. I think I want it to be Final Fantasy VII, but I think Elden Ring will get it because you don't change the definitions for everything for it not to be that.
Yeah, I mean, that's been the controversial thing. Should DLCs be part of it? Or expansions.
Do you know what, though? I think all of them are deserving of it, apart from the Fuck. I do think that there's glaring omissions in there, like frighteningly glaring omissions in that category.
I mean, for me, it's Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, but
Yeah.
you know, there's other games.
Silent Hill 2.
Silent Hill 2, I'm shocked by. I'm also shocked that Like a Dragon: Infinite Wealth, even though I've not played it, but the praise,
The
that
buzz
it got.
around it, yeah.
Same goes for Dragon's Dogma 2 now. And we know your stance, right? We know your stance. But if we cast our mind back to the start of the year, that thing was a juggernaut on the critical scale. Surprisingly so. I think nobody really seen that one coming. I do think Astrobot is just going to get it. It just feels like it's, I don't know. It's either Astrobot or Final Fantasy 7 for me. It's one of those two. I think it's going to walk away in the night.
I don't think, my personal opinion is I don't think it'll be a game that was released in the early part of this year.
Yeah, and that's
the problem for me. And
now,
yeah,
here's the thing. We don't. I'm not wanting this to be the longest podcast we've ever done. We've still got a lot of stuff to talk about, though. We've talked about all the awards predictions there, right? In terms of reveals, right? Could you give me, off the top of your head, your top 3 or 4 reveals you think you're going to get on the night?
What we're going to get?
Mm-hmm.
Oh God, right, okay. I made a list.
You checked it twice?
I mean, I've checked it twice. I'm going to make out who's naughty or nice.
Yeah.
I put more Death Stranding nonsense.
Uh-huh.
We'll probably see Hideo Kojima having lunch with Nicholas Winding Refn or something like that. Max Payne, question mark.
Right, okay.
Something to do with Borderlands.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect Dark. We'll get another trailer for Doom.
Mm-hmm.
And then I put Fable, probably.
Okay, nice. I like it. I do
nothing
like that a lot,
nothing in there for PlayStation. No, I don't think. Well, apart from maybe Death Stranding, but I don't see a big PlayStation announcement on this.
Well, I've reached for the stars, and
I'm trying to be more realistic. Like,
I think for me, Death Stranding 2, obviously that's PlayStation, and I think you're right. You're going to get Hideo brought out on a magic throne that says he's my pal on it. I think reaching for the stars, I think we get a teaser for Wolverine. I do also think that because of what happened earlier this year and the debacle about it, GTA 6 will drop something. And it could. So? I think with all the eyes on it, I do have a funny feeling that they may just not do like a full trailer. They might even be like an announcement for a trailer to come or something like that. I think there's going to be there in some way, shape or form, but I think it'll be small. I think Hades 2 gets a release date announcement on the night. And I'm going to go right back to Remedy. I think they dropped something to do with Control. Could be more Alan stuff. Could
Looking
be
at the
whatever.
they came out with like details recently about like what Control and all that's going to be.
Yeah, action
like,
RPG,
action sharp and all that. So I could agree with you, but I think it'll be Max Payne.
It would be fantastic
because the building blocks are there. Like with Alan Wake 2. You're basically one of the characters in that is basically Max Payne. Like it's.
Do they have the IP now? Is it Rockstar that has
it? They're remaking Max Payne 1 and 2.
Oh, right, so they are. Yes, so they are.
So I reckon we'll get
Remedy.
We'll get something on there, yeah. Because Sam Lake loves the Game Awards.
Yes, and
that's the thing. Like you can kind of your time and watch it, or set your watch to it, but
thing I forgot to say here actually on the Hades 2 call. I think they're going to say it's live now. I think it's going to be released.
The world will collectively shit their pants because I'm kind of toying with the prospect of setting up for this because I know I will.
You're going to.
Like
we're going to. The content life chose us.
The problem with it is that we always build ourselves up for something incredible. Now this is the 1 year where I'm like, yeah, they're not going to show anything to do with the Hollow Knight thing, Silk Song. It's not going to show, but it'll be the year they do it. I'm just trying to think of something absolutely ridiculous. They might do something for.
I think that would be it, mate.
Yeah, like another maybe fighting game collection, but they tend to come out with Nintendo.
What about the big Sega collection that we're working on?
Do you know what? You could maybe get more footage from like Crazy Taxi and stuff like that. Shinobi. Ooh.
One thing that we can guarantee is that there'll be too much stuff and it probably won't really move the hype scale.
Yeah.
You're probably going to get Hideo Kojima. You might because he's there, I would have said something like maybe they announced the next Metal Gear Solid collection with Konami or something like that. They won't do that because of Kojima's connection.
Keighley, aye. But
well,
see, I agree with you, right? And I am the big Konami believer here. But in my head, there is somewhere that says that we get the release date for Metal Gear Solid 3 here. Because I think that there's enough hype and buzz around this game.
That is a very good shout.
That kind of says, Keighleys like, do you know what? Like, I need it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, because that game must be coming out at least February.
Yeah,
so I'm thinking February, March.
I reckon that's the place to do it. I bought a collector's edition for that game and didn't even realise.
Did you?
Mm-hmm.
Well, that'll be awesome once it gets here.
I can't wait.
But I think we're touching on the next part of this discussion, right? Which is, of course, fixing the Game Awards. Because as we said, there's going to be too much stuff. There's going to be too bloated. And I think we're just going to take us through. We're going to construct this here for us, right? So I think it's important that we add a prefix before we jump into this, right? So I think it's all about intent for me. And I think the intent behind the Game Awards is good. So to have a show, of course, Keighleys trying to set up something that can both celebrate the industry for a night as well as hype up some cool announcements. And I think he's really, fair play to him, made the most of these opportunities available to him to create something cool. I think he is genuine in his intent, but it's the execution,
yes,
which is the part where everybody's, as the years go on, and this is the 10th year of it, the grumblings get louder and louder, and there's been some real missteps. So I thought the best way to evaluate this, outline the problem. So let's take a little moment on that, Scott. So I mean, what do you think is broken about the Game Awards in its current state?
My biggest problem with it is that it's not about the awards.
Yeah,
like we're not watching the Game Awards for the awards. It's not like you watch the Oscars to find out who the best actor is. Nobody cares about that.
Yeah,
in the Game Awards, it's what games are they announcing? That's the inherent problem with the whole process.
Yep.
Say what you want about Keighleys, say what you want about everything else, but to have something called the Game Awards where they are second best, there's your problem. There you go. Yeah, I've solved it. Podcast finished. Let's get up the road.
It's a glaring error. And you're right. I remember year after year, even last year, I think Larian took it for Baldur's Gate 3, didn't they?
Yeah.
And
what was it?
It was very, very short.
Move along or something like that. What was
That's
it?
right.
Like it's like that thinking one.
Please wrap it up or something.
They were
like
playing off like Sam Lake and stuff like that. Like
the
music was playing as they were speaking. It's ridiculous.
And I think as well, like there's two purposes behind the show, which is a big issue for me, and it's exactly following on what you're saying. It's trying to be E3 and it's trying to be the Game Oscars at the same time.
Yeah.
And it can't be. So it ends up just becoming a marketing platform because that will always win in the end. So the awards become awkward.
Yeah.
They become a bit of a farce and it feels more like a media event rather than a genuine award celebration. And what I would say is a Trojan horse marketing platform.
Yeah.
They're getting you into the guise of the awards and really it's more focused on that marketing hype side of things. And of course, the reason why is because they're wanting to pay the bills and stuff like that. But for me, another to kind of pull on this thread is it feels dated. Like the format itself feels like it was stuck in 2009. You know, and I applaud Jeff for what he's created. I do have to stress that. But it doesn't feel like it's in touch with the current gaming audience and industry, despite all the metrics that come out, like 80 million views and all that. It just feels like it's a show that would have been covered in the heyday of magazines behind closed doors.
Yeah.
That we just so happen to be watching. And that's why it just almost feels like, right, we need to put stuff in there just because these guys are watching.
The reason for it is just because he's the only one that does it.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a monopoly.
He's got that
situation.
monopoly. He's got that power that he can just do what he wants with it because, you know, he's the only one that's going to do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just like, what else can you do with it? So, and I see what you mean. Like, let's throw in an esports category in there because we can get that audience. Like, let's throw in content creator of the year because we can get random folk in from Twitch. Like,
and it's became like you can't, with any type of communications or marketing, like type of setup that you're doing, you have to think about your audience. And that starts and ends with that. So when they're talking, if they're trying to appeal to like punters like us that aren't there on the show floor and open it up, and on the one hand I'm like, that's really cool, I appreciate you trying to open this up and everybody can kind of join in, but on the other hand, it's just a bit like we've forgotten what this should be about. And I feel so sorry for the people in that room that make these games, right, are wizards. Absolutely genuine wizards. They create magic and they create the thing that we love. Without that, we wouldn't be sitting here talking.
Yeah.
And it feels like they're the sideshow at their own party.
It's true.
And it's
100%.
madness.
It's like you watch the BAFTAs, right? I've not watched the BAFTAs for about 4 million years, or you watch the soap awards in Britain, right? And a character from Coronation Street wins the award. You get a wee breakdown of them. You get like a wee 2-minute package of what they've done that year. Like with this, you get a millisecond of something, a flash with the game, and then that's it. Like,
I think you actually get more information when a wrestler comes down the Titans run.
You're totally right. It's just give the people the platform. Like, that's what it's all about.
Yeah,
it's infuriating to watch it, and it came to a 4 last year. Like, it really hit the heights of this is ridiculous now. Like, move it along so we can watch a 7-minute video on Supercell games. Do you know what I mean? Like, geez, fucking peace you.
I know.
And let us all go to your bed. Like,
and that's the next one I want to touch on is it's too bloody long. Like, the show is just too long. Like, it's significantly bloated and it needs to be shorter.
It's WrestleMania now. Like,
it is. Yeah, just too long.
Let's have a 45-minute pre-show where you can hear, like, the Content Creator Award is this, and then here's a trailer for the next something like
embarrassing
PC game that some random one person will play. Here's the trailer for Concord. But it's just like, it's ridiculous.
You put yourself in their shoes, right? So it's like, I don't know. I'm trying to think. It's usually surprising awards that they put in that pre-show. So it could be something like Best Art Direction, right? Which is like a big fucking deal.
That's a massive deal.
And the winner is you, Scott. All that years of work and effort, and it's like, right, there you go, mate. Off you go. Cut a trailer.
See you later. Right?
It's like, okay, and that it just feels weird. And this is where it stands out that the next point, and I will be careful because I don't want this to come across as if like we are like these weird grifters, right?
I mean, we've already established that I am.
You are, of course, but it's like there's an insularity problem with it. And it feels insular at points to the point where if you open a window to it and it feels like that, and it does feel like when it comes to it, very much you can tell the games media it's been created by Jeff, who's a part of the games media. It's not being created by peers, if you know what I mean. And, it's that age old thing. If you're part of the games media, like you're technically not part of the games industry. You know what I mean? You're media covering the industry events.
Yeah.
They're two very different things. And I say that it's the same as like if you're in the music industry, music media, you're not part of the music industry. Like
you're reporting.
The sake of journalistic integrity is like you should be covering the events and not have a hand in the events. That's basically it. And award shows are very difficult, subjective things that you cannot get perfect. You cannot get right because you're always going to piss somebody off. And that's the same, like whether it's the Soap Awards, Pride of Britain Awards, whatever it is. Somebody's going to be annoyed.
You can't be angry at the Pride of Britain Awards.
Oh, there'll be somebody.
Someone on Twitter like, I can't believe they won that award. Like,
I can't believe
I saved my family.
Daughter took that award.
I saved 17 families from a burning building. Like,
boo, it's a fix. But it's one of those ones like, it's the intersection of marketing and media, and then on the side of it, you've actually got the industry itself, the people, the developer industry there.
The thing that you're saying there is that you cannot play both sides in this.
No.
Jeff Keighley is literally in Death Stranding.
Yeah.
Like, he's in that game. It's like, I know that he absolutely will huff the farts of Hideo Kojima, right? Because let's be honest with you, every single person that loves Hideo Kojima would love a sniff, but it is outrageous the lengths that we go to for that. And in conversation, how we have to always be like, my friend, Hideo Kojima. But I get what you're saying.
I do have to say as well, to add the caveat, I think that a large portion of the games media are at the forefront of calling out the problem with the Game Awards now.
Yeah,
because they're
100%.
the first people to put it out. It's like, this needs to change. They're probably they are leading the campaign of like it needs to be more focused on the developers, because the vast majority of games media aren't there.
Yeah, if only we had an alternative where, someone made their own Game Awards.
Oh yeah, we'll get to that later, because I really want to poke fun at them. But I think a big problem of it, and, before I get on to that, actually, it's like the relationship between the industry and media should never be comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
Like in any industry, like I work in marketing and comms myself. It's like I was a journalist beforehand, and it's like cats and dogs living together.
Mm-hmm.
The phenomenon that you would have in this industry, and it does make it special, is that you can have that path, and it does happen outside as well in other industries where you can go from being journalist into the marketing comm side of it. And you see that now, and it's sad that unfortunately in a lot of cases you don't have any other choice because of media publications shutting, because you get greedy conglomerates buying them up. So it's not really a career path that you can really pursue as much, because the opportunities are shrinking. But it's that intersection, the biggest grossing entertainment sector in the world, and this is supposed to be the best award show to celebrate that, and it just feels like a bit more like a media event. Like it feels like the
Disney Expo, the Marvel Expo, where they're showing what's coming next. It's like
and it's like hype. It's marketing. It's mainly marketing focused.
Ultimately, it's become that way because it has to. Like, there's no other platform for these developers to show these things off.
Yeah.
But when there's no other competition, you have the ruthless aggression era.
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? Like, WWE was dog shit then, and that's what we're living through, the ruthless aggression era at the moment, because you know what I mean? Like, it's crud.
And the sad thing is, it feeds idiots.
Yeah.
This whole conspiracy of like, oh, they're all bought and paid for, it's all fixed. That's nonsense. Like,
that's the world. That is the world now, though. That's just, there's a conspiracy and everything. I could pish the wrong way and they would say it's a conspiracy.
You did a woke pish. You know what I mean?
I sit down pish and you're like, what are you?
But then,
sitting down for?
I think to kind of tie a bow in what the problem is, because we're going to get to the solution. This isn't a doomcast, but it's Jeff. I think, Jeff needs to take a step back.
Yeah.
He does need to take a step back.
You can't like, there's too much Jeff. Like, he could be like, welcome to the Game Awards, blah, 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 introducing your host, such and such. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? Like,
that would be great.
That'd be great.
The ambassador.
And it gives other people another opportunity. It's like, it would be fantastic. Mm-hmm. But
picture the scene, he comes out on stage with like, I don't know, Phil Spencer and stuff like that as well, and Herman Hulst, and it's just like and the creator of the Game Awards, and it's almost like, yep, we are the neutral board of this, and we're taking a step back. We just want to thank you all, and then it's like, here's your host for the night, Kai Cenat, or something like that, because it's like, right, then you're latching at the audience, and he does do that with this, like the co-hosts. They're usually right at the corner of the stage shouting, and it's one of those things. It's like, it's your ball, I get it. What an opportunity to give somebody else that platform every year, and kind of like the Oscars do. And I'm not saying go get Hollywood. We've got our own Hollywood through Twitch and all that. Shake it up, add a wee bit more of a sense of neutrality to things. I think would be good, because it does feel a bit Eric Bischoff. He's putting himself at the centre of the show, and it's like, I think it would benefit a lot more from him leading from the back, building that sense of neutrality. The awards, any award show, shouldn't have a face.
Yeah.
But that's why they're known as the Keighleys.
The Keighleys,
You said it right on the off. They should be neutral. So I've got a solution in mind.
Can I just say, I love the fact that I've managed to make it normal on this podcast that we have to make an analogy towards wrestling everything that we talk about. It's
people understand.
Fantastic.
They understand. It's like, I start to wear the NWO t-shirts. But I think the solution here, right, I'm going to run this patch, see what you think, right? And it all links together.
Okay.
So first of all, what I would do is I'd make two shows, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'd make a Game Awards show purely dedicated to celebrating the award and the devs.
Yep.
No speedrun awards brought to you by Monster Energy. It would be, of course, yes, I accept the viewership would drop pretty rapidly, but that's the point.
Mm-hmm.
So don't make it a marketing stunt chasing metrics.
Mm-hmm.
Give it value. The people will tune in and albeit in lesser numbers. Quality over quantity. And I think take all the announcement tat and create a Winter Games Fest showcase.
Yeah.
Do that. Put all that stuff there, get your metrics, and even put it on before the awards. Get more focus on that, better results. He can still have his cake and eat it. If he was to do a Winter Games Fest and not the Game Awards this year, you'd get the same numbers.
You would, aye.
You'd get the exact
Because
same
that's all
numbers.
we're watching it for.
And do that, excuse me, then make it shorter.
Mm-hmm.
So take the Winter Game Fest, make it a 60-minute event, trim the fat. Simply no need for it to be as long as what it is, right? And that's the summer one as well. It's boring, and aim for that quality over quantity approach. And still include those smaller indie titles as well. Don't just make it all AAA, even adopt a 50-50 balance approach. Like we're going to do 50% independent developers and the rest is all the big lugs that you kind of are talking about, and let's face it, why people are tuning in.
Yeah.
Make it digital. I know it's just me.
There's a wee squeaky noise there.
For the event with the marketing, make it digital. You know, it isn't E3. So I think we don't need these big dated massive theatres with lights and all that shit. Just cut your costs. Like, do what Sony and Nintendo do.
Yeah.
And as for the awards, make it more intimate. Just make it, again, this bigger isn't better.
It's a celebration. It's a celebration for, like, the games. Do you know what I mean? Like, just make it about that.
I'd love, like, the round table thing instead of a theatre. It looks like a presentation. I think having it in a way that all the developers are around the room, they're talking, they're engaging, like, again, similar to the Oscars. And yeah, I think just ultimately neutrality first.
Yeah.
Like, we do live in horrendously political times, and I think it would be good to move to focus on bringing on or building those new stars to present it. Jeff, go to the back. We live in this influencer era, and whilst I wouldn't naturally go there first, I accept that that's where the numbers are going to come from, you know. And we look at, like, the jury panel that decide the game, and it's over 100 global media and influencer outlets selected for their history of critical video game evaluation, right? But why not create a jury of your peers in development, just like what the DICE Awards do? And I know it's like, well, then just go to the DICE Awards, but I'm like, I think that neutrality of it being a peer recognised event as opposed to media or influencer that are voting on it would build more of a goodwill and even add more to it, personally. As I've mentioned, I think the press media have an important part to play in this, which is to report on the event, report on the winners, as opposed to having an active part in those events themselves. And it's a bit like, if I was a chef, I want to be named Chef of the Year by my peers, not by the Guardian restaurant critic. You know, it's the same.
Still feels nice though.
Still feels nice. No, there's a
there's a place in print media or like digital media for that though. You can do your own.
Every
awards.
single one of them will have their own awards, and they'll hold tremendous weight, some more than others, because you've got lots of longevity, and I'm not discounting what they do at all, because yes, they are the experts in critically evaluating these video games,
but they shouldn't be the determinant factor on what is the game of the year.
Well, it becomes that if it's something that is decided purely by media.
And 10% of it's public vote.
10%. And obviously, I agree with that, because if you make it all public vote, it would be a trash fire. Right? I can't even imagine. But yeah,
Infinity Nicky wins.
That's my pitch to fix it.
I think it's a fair enough pitch, to be honest with you. I like the thought. I think that splitting it up, like, why have a Summer Games Fest and not a Winter Games Fest? It seems like a stupid thing not to do.
Yeah,
and it would tie a bow in the year. Do you know what I mean? Like, that's your Christmas present for the year. Here you go. Let's look forward to everything for next year. Here you are.
Yeah.
Like, aye, fair enough.
Yeah. And I think, like, do I think it's going to change? No. I think they're going to keep pushing this thing until it dies. And I feel like I still think in its current state it's a relic of the past. It's that Trojan horse event, marketing under the guise of awards, and it's not celebrating the industry. It's not.
What is DICE? What's the DICE Awards?
DICE Awards happens a few months later, and it is basically that is like the proper Game Awards, I would say, but it is a jury of peers working within the development side of the industry, voting on the best achievements of the year.
Cool. Didn't know that.
That's very, very well known awards. That's probably, I'd say, has a lot more prestige to it, albeit less public awareness.
Yeah.
It's like your broadsheet tabloid type thing.
AEW.
Aye, so
that's not really good.
Jesus Christ.
AEW is pish.
But it's the one. It's that thing. Like, we have to be able to discuss from an audience perspective. Like, the audience, some of the audience is uncomfortable with the whole like media side of that, deciding it for some reasons that could be critically like understandable, and other ones that are complete batshit crazy. Like, for example, you've got clowns that set up the real Game Awards. I had to. These guys are absolute clowns, and this is exactly what I think isn't a solution. I think it's a grift that's capitalising on conspiracy theory nonsense that reviews are all bought and paid for, and the games media and game developers are two like the best of pals, and they're all just bamming you up. They're giving good games, bad games good scores, and DEI and all that pish, and it's like, nah, I don't buy it for a second. It's like, when you actually go through this, man, if you've not heard, I'm not even going to advertise actually, but it's just a total bloody grift. They actually said take games back on their website.
Make games great again.
Exactly.
MGGA.
It's just, it's so bad. It's like
I remember it all coming out on Twitter, and it was just like, let's just all point and laugh at this weird guy.
It's like, if you're tired of the nonsense and are ready to take action, now is the time. Get fucked. Honest to God. Like,
I mean, I'm tired of it, and I want to take some action. And you know me, I love a good grift, so
it's designed to avoid bad faith voting and funny business, and then they end it with trying to get memberships, $30 to
so subscribe to us on Patreon.
I mean, it's as transparent a grift as you can get.
Yeah, I reckon we just come up with our own Game Awards.
Yeah,
and we call it the second real Game Awards, the actual real Game Awards.
I think it's about time that somebody grifts the grifters. You know what I mean?
I'm going to do it. Let's just grift patter, and we'll do reaction videos on people's reaction videos.
Yeah,
and we'll just make money that way. Because listen, I want a slice of this pie, and I've got a hundreds of shite that I can talk. But ultimately, the solutions are there, and we all can see it. We can all see it. Like, Jeff must look at himself and be like, look, I know, but like, do something about it. Like, you have the arguably the biggest platform of anyone in games media at the moment.
Yeah.
Like,
arguably
ever. So use it for good. Yeah. Use it to build people up. Like, the best thing he's been doing in the last few years is talking a lot more about independent studios and giving them a lot more time and space. But just give everyone that opportunity to share.
It's also like calling out the crap that's been happening in the industry, which, I mean, it doesn't do enough of it.
It took a while. Like,
and this is the problem when it becomes a sponsored media type event or marketing type event. He is constrained a lot of the time because he's got to break even. He's got costs to cover. He's doing things by giving like independent smaller studios free kind of showcasing on the event, which is all fantastic moves. But you're right, I think this isn't like it's beyond saving. Give $30 a month, we'll start Arena Awards, Gamergate.
I mean, pass it over.
It's like, we've got a really good opportunity there, and I think he would be applauded if he was to be like, do you know what? Game Awards this year, there's no announcements. Tune in, and we're just going to sit and spend a lot of time. It could be 15 hours long as it usually is, but we're just spending all the time just talking about these developers.
I think the time for that was like, in the perfect world, with everything that happened last year, say, look, strip it right back. Let's just take some time and just celebrate the developers working in arguably the worst times that they've been, like, in recent years. Do you know what I mean? Like, the industry is as bad now as it ever has been. Like, we need to have an in memoriam section in the Game Awards now for all the publications and all the websites and all the studios and layoffs and everything that have been there, because these are becoming more and more prevalent than ever before.
Yeah.
So there needs to be acknowledgement of that minute one. But I think now, and get the Elden Ring stuff and all that and DLC part are right. If you agree with it or if you don't agree with it, I feel like there is going to be more scrutiny on this year's Game Awards than ever before.
Yeah.
And that is down to the fact that people don't agree with the decisions that have been made at the top. People want to see a lot more onus put on, talking about the state of the industry. So it's not make or break time, but it feels
it's
right now.
Overdue.
It feels right, and it's good that we're able to challenge it. But the next day he's just posting about having lunch with fucking some other random guy. Like, it's just, it seems like, you're fighting a Ghastly. You go to the Ghost Tower in Pokemon and you try and fight the Ghastly, but you can't hit it.
Yeah.
It's just like he's just immune to all damage. It's just like he just comes back out stronger.
Well, we shall see. I mean, I think the first step he needs to do is take a step back.
I think that's it. Ultimately, that is the minute the first thing he should do.
He needs to get in Gorilla.
He does. I was actually thinking that. Just get behind the scenes, because he could do a lot more with it, but he won't.
Take a leaf out of Triple H's book. But anyhow, we digress. I think that was a good chat there to get through, but of course that means time to move on. So it's time for the Pixel Picks Showdown, where each week we each pick a game from our chosen theme and decide which one deserves to live on in the hallowed Pixel Picks list, which is our definitive list of the best games we recommend to pass on to the next generation of gamers. Last week's theme was Enhanced Game, with Halo the Master Chief Collection becoming the latest addition to the list. And in this week's showdown, we're going to be debating which best Game of the Year winner we think should feature on the Pixel Picks list. Now, it could be from any legit awards, so it can't be ones that we've made up. So it has to be an actual award that they've been given for that. And as always, last week's winner goes last. So I believe that's me. I go last this week. So Scott, let's get to it. What's your pick?
Every single time it confuses me. We also need to just put a pin in this moment here and just say this is the most tenuous, like this is the the thinnest thread that we've had on any Pixel Picks option theme that we've ever had before.
We changed this topic last minute, and it shows, we are being fully transparent. And
I mean, I'm almost clear. I'm so transparent.
It's time for me to take a step back from this podcast.
I can't imagine. We're giving it up.
That's it.
I don't have an honourable mention, to be truthfully honest with you, because it could be any of the games on the list.
Well, just give me your main pick then.
But my main pick, and I'm actually just looking it up now because I want to just make sure that I've got the correct year for it.
Mm.
But the game that I'm thinking about was released in. Oh God, give me a minute. I'm going to get it. Let's just pretend that I'm not talking rubbish and I'm getting there. It was in. Oh my God, when was it?
Must have been some time ago.
No, it wasn't. It was only a few years ago, but I can't remember when it was.
Okay.
It was 2019.
Oh, right.
2019's Game of the Year, and it is From Software's hit game, Sekiro.
Shadows Die Twice.
Shadows Die Twice. I've just been waiting for a moment to get this game on the list. To be honest with you, it could have gone anywhere, but Sekiro is, and I'll say this out loud and I'll say it with vitriol, the best game that From Software have ever made.
Ooh, lofty.
Love Elden Ring, love Bloodborne, love Dark Souls, but none of them hold a candle to Sekiro. It is the greatest achievement that they've ever had because it plays phenomenally. The story in it is incredible. It actually tells a story and you don't have to find it out through random things that you pick up. Like pick up a gas ball on the floor and it tells you about the lore of the main bad guy in it. It tells you everything in steps.
Mm-hmm.
The combat in it is just outrageous. It is so good. And I was thinking about it the other day because I saw a skeet, is what we call it,
That's what we call it.
Skull we call them that. And I was looking at someone who was sharing their platinum collections and they had Sekiro on it. And I remember I go back to my own platinum journey with that game, and it is the most fun I've ever had with any game ever, because you start that game with such a rudimentary understanding on how it works, and by the end of it you are Sekiro. Like, you have become that character. You can walk through that game and not take a hit. Like, you go from finishing that game in however many hours it is to complete it in an hour because you can just power through it.
Mhm.
It is unreal. And it's so good that it doesn't need a sequel. Like, it's a standalone title that should never be given a sequel because it is just perfect the way it is.
Yeah.
All the bosses in it, outrageous, phenomenal. Madame Butterfly,
Oh,
come on
yes.
now.
Good spam tactic for her.
Exactly. You've got Owl, you've got Genichiro, and you've got what's he called? What do you call him? Oh, the guy in the horse.
Big General.
My name is
I can't remember, but
Masataka Oniwa or something like that. My name is. It's just there's moments, and I remember them, and yeah, I could gush all over this table, and
please don't.
And I'm not going to, but it could only have been Sekiro, and it deserves a place on this list if it's here or if it's anywhere else. I'm just going to start picking it for random
Every
choices.
Week. Yeah, next week best kids game now. It was an interesting year because I think that was up against Death Stranding and Control.
Indeed.
I remember being surprised because I was thinking Death Stranding's of course going to get it because it's his pal, and then I thought maybe Control because that was the Alan Wake of that year, like the critical darling. So I was pleasantly surprised when Sekiro took it because I was like, oh, fair play. You know what I mean? Because I just thought this maybe foolishly, because it is, it's still a bit of an outlier because it's just a straight up action adventure game. It's not like the big sweeping RPG with your builds and all that, which I appreciate about Sekiro.
But you can do that though. That's the thing with it. You can build it that way. It's really down to you.
Yeah, it felt more of like a throwback in a good way, like to kind of games of yesterday. Like it felt like a game that wouldn't be out of place in a PlayStation 2 catalog
and that's
for the right reasons.
Do you know the one thing that I'm going to say to you, right? And it'll take you back to the moment that you've done it, and you just go, oh, the parry with the spears
up in circle,
and you stand on it, and that's you. It's just like, oh man,
it's
man,
exceptional. The game is fantastic, and this is a tough one this week. I have to say, even though it was like we thought about it for ages. My honourable mention, I'm just not going to dwell on it too long. Is DICE Awards Game of the Year winner in 2010, Mass Effect 2, for obvious reasons. One of the GOATs. You know what I mean? I think could have easily been my pick because it's a juggernaut.
Yeah,
it's a juggernaut, bitch. But my pick is actually Game Awards winner 2020, which is The Last of Us Part 2. And I say that because even though that game got its flowers, I feel like it came and went very quickly because it was a very different world we inhabited back then.
Yep.
To the extent that it's almost taken for granted. And I look at the technical narrative achievement of that game and even the gameplay within it. It is a stunning piece of work, and one that I actually don't think Naughty Dog could top. I'm going to say that now.
I agree with you 100%. It's a complete marvel.
Yeah.
Like the fact that you managed to take the story from part one and flesh it out in such a way where, the big thing happens and you still manage to move on and, arguably grow to love that character.
In my case, yes. I thought the way that it subverted your attitude and feelings towards them, and in a way, there's a moment in that game, and I've not experienced it in any other game like that, where it really made you stop and pause and realise the actions you were taking inside the world as a game, and it made you feel it didn't make you feel great.
Nah, it makes you feel uncomfortable.
And the thing is, the game does a tremendous job of depressing the absolute shite out you because it's a journey, man. Yeah, going through it.
It's almost too much of a journey, I'd say.
Almost, but it's like I'm not going to hold that against it because it's a game that's had a clear purpose in mind.
Yeah,
and the way that it's been crafted.
Yes,
the game has been totally crafted, and I appreciate the fact that they took major risks with that, and they even managed to get past the leaks. They even managed to kind of get through all your usual grifter conspiracy pish that's coming after it. And it stood tall, and it's still to this day like probably one of the best games. Like that's easily in my top 10 games of all time.
All time. I don't think I could say that. I don't think I could say that about it. I think it's top 15, maybe.
It's still pretty high.
It's still pretty high, but do you know what is in my top 10?
It's not Sekiro.
It's Sekiro.
It's not Sekiro.
It is Sekiro. I'm telling
honestly,
you.
I think
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice is just, it is this. It is 100% this.
I'm not sure. I'll tell you why. I'll tell you why as well. As my last salvo before I sit down on the bench is that as good as Sekiro is, and this is like we're splitting hairs here, right?
Mm-hmm.
Get the tweezers out. Try to split the hairs because there's not much between them here. But it was a surprise that it won it that year, and it wasn't when The Last of Us Part 2 won it that year. I feel like that was just like, yep, of course.
But that's, I don't think that's fair, because Sekiro's coming from a place where it's the first game of that ilk. Whereas the good thing, no, it is though. Like it's not Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Elden Ring. It's not.
But they're the progenitors of
it. But that doesn't make sense. It's like saying,
they're all derivative of something.
No, they are.
That's the point.
I mean, parts of it are, but you're talking about The Last of Us Part 2. What came before The Last of Us Part 2?
Mm-hmm.
Part 1? So it's like Sekiro comes from a blank slate. You can pick and choose.
No. I mean, it's splitting hairs.
It is splitting hairs, but I don't agree with that point, because it's coming from a clean canvas, whereas you have, it is though. Like you have to make that, and it shares a little of the DNA that these games have, but not much. Whereas random person in the street, you pick them up and say, what's the difference between Last of Us Part 1 and Last of Us Part 2?
It depends what you ask, Christ.
Now? Could you?
Oh, I could easily go through it. Easily. I mean,
but like not you.
Aye,
like, you sat my wife down in front of the TV, says, do you think these two are completely different games in the way they look now?
Oh God! I mean, the way that looks in the Pro now is
like,
not even fair.
Do you know what I mean? Like, it's
not even fair.
They share more DNA than Sekiro does with anything else.
I mean, it's again splitting hairs. I do think though, in my head, when you're saying Game of the Year winner, because I was looking at Sekiro earlier, and that the reason I didn't pick it is because it's not a game that I immediately think that is a Game of the Year winner. Not saying that it's not deserving, but it was that year. It's more just like it's the prestige. It's what you. It's like the. It's not a Daniel Day-Lewis,
but
right? It feels a little bit more like. Let me think now. Who recently had won some Oscars? It feels a bit like a Matthew McConaughey, in a sense that it was deserving that year. Absolutely, when it won the Oscar, there was a bit of a renaissance around the whole genre and shtick. Still enjoy it. Still absolutely fantastic. But it's not the prestige. It's not like he's not going to go on a run. You know what I mean? So,
Matthew McConaughey did go on a run though.
I mean, they didn't win more than one.
No, but he went on a run on the McConaughey. I can't even say his name right, but he went on a run of TVs and films and stuff that
I'm only accepting the McConaughey
are alike
at this point,
unlike anything that's ever been seen before. I don't think this is the first time in Pixel Picks history
stalemate
where I do not want to concede this, and it's not through personal reasons, because you know me, I love both of these games. Like, I've played them both.
I have
played through both of them. You have not.
I have played both of them.
You've played both of them, but you never completed Sekiro.
Didn't have to finish it though. I still put about 35 hours into
that game. Where did you get to?
I can't even remember.
Probably not far enough to say it's not deserving a Game of the Year.
No,
but
if I did.
No.
I've put more time into Sekiro than I have The Last of Us Part 2. Put it that way.
I don't agree.
I have.
I've played the story of The Last of Us Part 2. It's like 9 million years long.
I think the only way to fairly tie split this is to see what won more the Game of the Year awards.
I don't think that's fair.
I think it's fair.
I don't, because it's not about that. It's not.
Oh, you've heard it.
The only time it's ever been, the only time we've ever had this happen in the past where we've both not wanted to concede on the pick was decided by the flip of a coin.
All right, flip the coin in.
The coin.
Was it Halo by any chance?
The coin decides. Wait a minute. It probably was Halo.
I love how you have an app for this. It shows
I don't.
you the times that
I
we live
don't.
in.
It's just Google has heads or tails.
So you don't have a coin. That's
No,
absolutely shocking.
Right. So which is which?
Will you call it this time? I called it last time.
No, you call it. I like it when you call it.
No, you go.
You call it. So
You
which?
call it.
No, which is which though? Last of Us is.
All right. Last of Us is Tails. Yeah.
Right.
That's just
Flip
me calling
again.
it. Right. Okay. The gods of fate.
Tails. There you go.
Tails. Right, there we
So
go.
Last of Us Part 2 wins it
Okay. There we go.
undeservedly because
Bit of needle.
it's horrible.
Bit of needle. For
We're going to
lads.
have to now make a category which is like From Software games that are not Dark Souls or Elden Ring or Bloodborne. And then you'll be like, oh, Tenchu though, you know,
No, not at all. Not at all.
King's Field.
Jesus
It's like
Christ.
I'm dipping back, but
I'm actually just double checking here. No, it hasn't. It's not. Actually, I'm surprised it's not been on the category before.
I
Sekiro came up
checked it.
previously before though. Did we not have? Oh,
That was what we were talking about.
we couldn't pick it because it was Soulsborne.
These
Interesting.
absolute heathens don't appreciate good taste.
That was Bloodborne that week though. Can't really argue, to be
Still,
fair.
nonetheless,
Okay.
it's disgusting because Bloodborne is
Bloodborne's the best
my
From Software game.
my favorite game on yeah in that genre. But I still say that Sekiro is my favorite From Software game. 100%. I think it's a million times better than Elden Ring. I will die on the hill of Elden Ring as you know,
Elden
that's
Ring's not
that's
my
in the
favourite.
top 10, but I think it's an absolute pain in the arse to go back and play.
But
Shadow of the Erdtree was great, but see going
I
back and
think-
have to play it, it's like, this is a fucking nightmare.
I think more people would echo that sentiment towards Sekiro.
I
The
disagree.
exact same thing, like going back to play it as a pain, and you
I-
know it yourself.
Disagree.
It's like if it's clicked with you, and it takes a long time to with the parry and the combat system, but it's a bit more dense to get into.
And that's
A lot more
that's
dense.
why you play it.
But
With what I'm saying about Elden Ring though was that when we went back to play it again, so when we've gone back to play it again for the Shadow of the Erdtree stuff, see having to go back through that game and do all the stuff in it,
I had to
it is a pain in the arse.
well, telling me I had to complete the whole game again.
Like going
Like-
through it and having to go and navigate the world again, it was like, oh,
I mean, that's the problem with it being the size that it is. You know,
it's
isn't it?
just so annoying. But
But
yeah,
we digress.
I'm dying on this hill.
We digress. But congratulations to The Last of Us Part 2. That completes the set. Both those games are in the Pixel
Disgusting.
Picks list.
Thank fuck.
Um,
Get it the fuck.
You're the winner of the very what's the word, hardly fought for a last minute category for GOTY winner.
Yeah.
It has actually it's brought the goods.
Was there any others that could have made it?
Oh, you take your pick. Take your pick. You could have. I think it made it so hard. You could have picked GoldenEye. You could have picked God of War. You could have picked, I don't know, Metal Gear Solid 5. One game of the year somewhere, I'm sure. You could.
I actually just looked at the Game Awards stuff because I couldn't be bothered. I thought it was apt for the actual show.
The problem is, it's probably the hardest category you can pick because you're splitting hairs.
Yeah.
You're splitting hairs, and it's the God of Fates. Don't blame me, blame the coin. I participated. I picked it. But anyway, that brings us to the end of this week's podcast. So thank you once again for joining us. And if you like what you hear and enjoy the podcast, leave a wee 5-star review. Of course, that helps us out and make a big difference. And if you wouldn't mind this week, just reskeet, whatever you call it, on Blue Sky. Let's spread the word. We'll try to build up that following on Blue Sky. We've moved away from X. Goodbye, Space Karen. And we're wanting to just kind of build up that lovely, wholesome community we've got there. Speaking of which, Scott, it's test time. So where can people find you online if they want to engage with you and talk about Sekiro?
You can find me on that Blue Sky at lamaman.bsky.social.
And one.
Actually,
Look
I can
at
remember
that.
that. Look at it.
3-pointer.
You just have to get me angry and then I remember things.
Of course, if you want to follow me, you can, of course, do that at carmelite.bsky.social. And of course, thank you to our producer and music man, the talented and handsome Mr. Sean Murray. We absolutely adore you and everything that you do for us. He's the man that makes it all happen.
The Marvel.
Of course, you can listen to the next episode on all major podcast platforms, including Spotify. I won't balls up this week. And follow us on Blue Sky at Pixel Parents. And of course, write to us at pixelparentspodcast@gmail.com. But until next time, stay safe, stay sane, And thanks for listening.
Sekiro was robbed.